All right. Welcome everybody out to episode number 336. This is like the 1700th time that Nelson Atagi and I have started this thing. So let's get this going. So Nelson, say hi to everyone.
How's it going?
We're going to talk today about cleanliness and our podcast yesterday. Stay with us.
This is the Elevate Construction Podcast, delivering remarkable content for workers, leaders, and companies in construction wanting to take their next step. Get ready to step out of your comfort zone with Jason Schroeder as he encourages you to do better, live a remarkable life, and expect more. Let's go.
All right, everybody, welcome. We got Nelson Atagi with us here today. Nelson, where are you right now? Tell us where you are in the world.
I'm actually in Olathe, Kansas, near Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay.
Here visiting my family.
What are you about to do this weekend?
My brother throws a luau every year, so we're gonna cook a pig up and then have some friends over at a pool and swim around and eat some good food, man.
That's awesome.
Visit the family. That's what it's about.
I love it. So I was asking you what you're passionate about, and you said cleanliness, and we were giggling about the podcast yesterday. So what's the first thing you want to hit on? Let's take it away, and we'll kind of have a discussion here. Let's go.
Going back to, what I've been passionate about, I've been really got onto a new site, and took my first walk around, and as I walked around, the first things that pop out to me everywhere I go now is just how clean this job site is. And so, I gave them a day or two to get to cleaning, talk to the foreman for all the trades and just said, hey, look, we've got to clean this place up. Let's go. Next couple of days, it kind of went, kind of didn't. So I brought in a couple guys and we just cleaned house, man. And it was amazing. Within a day, that site looked like it was totally, totally different. And it felt better. And since that day, the trades have done a great job at helping us keep clean, organize everybody in their place, everything in their place. And it has just felt a whole lot better around the site. People are able to maneuver. People are able to have better workflows. It's just been really, really good for this site. So I'm happy about it. Let's just leave it at that.
That's fantastic. So what's your role? Tell everybody what your role is on the project.
So I'm actually currently the site superintendent. So running all the site work. This is kind of an outdoor mall. So they have a lot of details for the outside that are going to be pretty cool. The outdoor fountain. It's going to be a cool spot to shop for people.
That's pretty cool. I like that. So you've been on the site for a couple months. So so yesterday, so we were giggling about yesterday's podcast. What I want to kind of tie this all together. So you're a superintendent now that sees, and I'd like to know where you picked that up. I don't know if you got that from a GS or your parents or wherever you got it, but I'd like to know kind of where you got that mentality of like stabilize and clean the site and what advice you give to other superintendents. But I'd also like to get back to your thoughts on the podcast yesterday and why you were giggling. So let me ask you this: where did you pick up this cleanliness? Why did that become important to you, and how did that happen?
I always equate it to when I like to cook. I'm not, I don't cook all the time. My wife does most of that, and I'm grateful for that. But there are times when I do like to cook. And when I go to cook, if the kitchen has stuff all over the counters, if there's dishes in the sink, I can't start. I just can't do it. So the whole kitchen has to be cleaned out, tables wiped off, kitchen floor swept up, and then I can start. Like I feel clean that I can start. And throughout the whole process, you cut some meat, you clean your knife, you clean your cutting board, you use a new dish to, mix some eggs, you rinse that out and you clean it up and you put it in the sink. And then, at the end of the cooking process, you make sure it's all cooked, clean. As you put something in the oven, you just go through and you clean it up. That's kind of I just feel better that way. And that just equates to the job site. If we can clean as we go, things just work a whole lot easier. It's just smoother. That's the way, kind of where I got it from. But also there was one time where, you came on my site and you picked up about, I don't know, 20 items in your hands, carrying it around the site until you found a garbage can. And that was a little embarrassing. And so there might have been a little bit of embarrassment into that attitude as well.
Oh, I didn't expect that. So I hope I was being nice.
Well, you were, but honesty is reality, honesty is where it's at, and that's what it was.
Well, so let's unpack that a little bit. Let's go back to the cooking analogy. So like, obviously it's like you said, it's important to be clean because, you need a clear space there to work. You want the food sanitary, you need to be organized and things like that. But also you talked about how you feel better. And I'd love to know if you have any additional thoughts to this, but it almost feels like you mentally get a win. Like there's so many things that are chaotic in construction or cooking, right? People are in the kitchen, the kids are running around, blah, blah, blah. You're like, I just need one freaking thing stable right now. You know what I mean? Like I need a win mentally. And I think those, Eric Thomas, you and I love Eric Thomas, right? Like do you remember Eric Thomas for the videos that we did in Super Boot Camp? He's like, winners win, losers lose. Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So he's like, I focus on winning more than I focus on structure, and I'm like,
yeah,
I love, and so like, to me, it's like, okay, if everybody on the job or in the kitchen or wherever can win with cleanliness and feel a little bit stable, outer order, inner calm kind of a thing, then we have better mental capacity to go do other things. So any thoughts on that? Any other reasons that like you're noticing cleanliness is important just beyond the normal, like, hey, keep it safe?
Yeah, I was, to your comment on winning, the small things we can do to gain wins are the things that ultimately win that war, right? And so, and again, like the mental state of winning drives a lot of what we do. When we feel like we win, man, we can do amazing things when we have the capability or the, what's the word I'm looking for?
It doesn't matter. I'm not going to edit this out. So everyone's like, edit this out of the podcast. I'm like, no, yeah, sure. I'll do that.
You don't have to.
That's all good. No, I think that's great.
Yeah.
Go. So, all right, I have to ask you. So you were teasing me about, actually, I got a lot of people teasing me about the podcast yesterday. What were your thoughts on 335, the superintendent's one? What thoughts and reflections did you have for that one?
It's, I agree with you. I actually have, one FE right now that he continues to want to get back into the bags. We've got other responsibilities for him. As superintendents, we have the same thing, right? We can't get in there and do all the work. We've got to pull our heads out of, or keep our heads above our rear ends and, plan the work. When we're not doing that, somewhere down the line, work is going to halt. And so I don't remember exactly what you're saying, but I just recall just laughing hysterically as I was listening to that podcast, and the people next to me in their vehicles were probably like, what the heck? He's all by himself, just laughing.
Yeah, that's funny.
But yeah, that's really where we're at. I think I agree 100%. We can't just be security guards.
So I got a text from the person that sent me the question. He was like, wow, did I strike a nerve? Very passionate response. Loved podcast 335. I love that you don't sugarcoat things. Nicely done. So I thought that was funny. And then a couple of other companies called me and they're like, wait a minute, did that come from my guys, that question? I'm like, no. That came from a different a different contractor, a different company, and they're like, okay, because they're like, that's so funny. Oh yeah, somebody said, yeah. Anyway, I thought it was super funny, some of the responses that I got, and then I got a little thing that said cussing rant with the emoji with the and the hell no. So I thought that was kind of funny, but
Yeah, the cuss word, yeah, that just the way you say things like that, it's pretty funny.
well,
Get the cuss word out of the cuss wording.
I just, I've been going around, Nelson, or I'll use this just as a little like connect fest here real quick. Like there's working with companies, great companies, like they give their people incentives for winning on the job, support, tact planning to the nth degree, schedules that they can read, huddles, training. I don't know if I already said that. And then the people are like, it's just some of the former supers are like, uh, I don't really want that. You know what I mean? And I just think to myself, like, could you, and I'll ask you, Nelson, like, could you imagine going to work and being like, yeah, I don't really want to learn any more than I know now, like, where does that come from? You've been through coaching programs, you've been through experiences, you're doing 75 hard right now. Like, why does that happen, Nelson? Why do people think like that? I'll put you on the spot now.
No, you're okay. It's hard because doing 75 hard. Let's use that for an example.
Okay.
Every day I do the same 5 things. 6 things, and it's mundane and monotonous. And I ask myself, why am I doing this? I could just go home and chill out and not have to go for my second 45-minute workout. Like, why do 2 45-minute workouts every day? I just want to be lazy right now, and maybe that's a part of it. Maybe they're happy with the state they're in right now. Maybe their pay is where it's at, where they want to be. Maybe their home situation's fine right now and they don't want to move, right? Maybe they feel comfortable and they've gotten in that comfort zone. And that's where we die. Man. And I think you and Brandon talked about that the other day. When we get in our comfort zone, that's where we mentally and physically die.
Yeah.
We start getting fat. We start getting dull. We're not sharp anymore in the mind. It's not where I want to be. And I definitely would like to encourage everyone to get out of that and push everyone to get out and do things that are uncomfortable, that sharpen your mind and get you physically healthy.
Yeah.
So you can do more and be more.
That brings up a good point. So I've talked many times on this podcast about that game Silent Squares and the impact that had in my life. And I think it comes down to the vision of giving when I listen to you, meaning like, what is your motivation for getting up and doing 75 hard? Well, part of it, like if we were alone, like let's say all other human beings cease to exist on the planet, right? The decision to sit around and get fat and lazy and just chill might be a whole lot different than if there were people here, right? That's just me personally, right? Because I find that a lot of people, and I'm not saying they're takers or givers, I'm not defining them as human beings, but I think when we accidentally get into a taker mentality, it's a lot easier to stop being at that guard post. Like you're saying, it's a lot easier to stop doing something like 75 hard. It's a lot easier to stop cleaning. It's a lot easier to stop doing these disciplines. And I think we've got to get our minds wrapped around the concept of giving. And, I had a note on my notes to do a podcast about what is the superintendent's motivation to do all these things, right? The integrated production control system, operating stabilized sites, personal organization, team balance and health, like good scheduling. What's their motivation? And I keep coming back to the worker. And I'd love to know your thoughts. So find the feeling here and get passionate on me. Tell me what your thoughts are. But when supers tell me, hey, I've run jobs like this for the last 40 years and we've made it on time somehow, and which I strongly doubt, but and we've made money. Well, I don't care if the GCs made a little bit of money. I want to know that all the trade partners made money. And I also want to know that those workers felt respected and loved. And I don't know that that's the case. So so like, let me ask you the question. Do you agree with me? And the other one is, when you say, what is the superintendent's motivation to be better? What would you say that is? Like, what do you channel into? What's your motivations? You're 75 hard at work. Like, what gets you going?
There's probably some ego in that,
Okay.
right? As a superintendent, I would say there's definitely some ego in that, and that from the moment I became a superintendent, my thoughts were, I have to prove myself.
Okay.
So that is the selfish taker's, mentality. But as I've gotten further into it, and I've gotten further into knowing the workers and the foreman and the foreman and trade or superintendents of our trade partners, I really have gotten into the thoughts of and the mindset of, it's these guys, the ones that are putting the work in place, that really make the difference.
Yeah.
And if we can't support them and create a stable work environment for them, one, they don't want to be here. So they don't put things in properly, and they don't do it correctly and safe. So what's the point? And so that's my motivation, is to keep these guys happy. You said in your book,
me make it to where they want to be there. They feel fulfilled and they feel valued. Okay, go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
you're good. I was gonna say we spend more time. We probably spend more time with each other at work than we do with our families, which isn't right, but that's the way the hours work in the day.
Yeah.
And so, why not care for each other?
Yeah.
Why not take care of each other and have a good time at work? And, when you show up, be like, hey, the work is hard, but at least it's enjoyable to work with you.
Yeah.
And that's the way I want to be. I want to be the guy who's like, I enjoy working with Nelson. Oh, you're going to a job with Nelson Atagi? Dude, you're going to have a good time. He'll take care of you. That's what I want.
Yeah. If we had that kind of environment, throughout construction, I think we could do some amazing things. Not only do the recruiting, but actually keep people and have a lot more opportunities for other people. I was, I'll tell you a little personal story that you reminded me of. So there's in our local church unit, we've got missionaries just like you do, right? And sometimes like every 6 weeks, or it seems like, or what's 6 times 2? 12 weeks. every 12 weeks we get new missionaries in the area, and it's like I can kind of take them for granted, And the other day I had a thought come to me. Am I taking care of these young elders just like I would want somebody to take care of my son? Like Reno's out there. Reno in 6 months will be out in some foreign country serving and taking care of people and loving people and attempting to like spread goodness throughout the world, right? And will I want the local church members to take advantage, or not take advantage, but like take him for granted? Would I want him to not have meals? Would I want him to like be out there and feel frustrated and like have a flat tire on his bike and nobody to help him? Would I want him to feel like he's being ignored and underappreciated? Like, no, like that would break my heart, right? So like I had a thought, I'm going to take care of these young men as much as I can. So every week now we're inviting them over to our house, and like today we're going to get Red Robin delivered just to treat them to something and, give them rides and stuff like that. And the feeling that I got from you when you said that was, what if we treated the craft workers and the foremen on site like we would want somebody to treat our own children, right? What if I don't know, I just kind of got that feeling from it. That would be cool. Go ahead. Any thoughts?
My thoughts are, we're humans, man. And the human relationship is greater than any other species out there, right? We connect on a level other than just food, water, and, social cleanliness.
Yeah.
We connect, we talk, we focus on each other, and we really can give, and not just just be around for survival. You know, there's a whole lot more to this connection thing that we can tap into at work, and we don't have to be these hard-nosed, stuck-up guys at work. We can actually just take care of each other. Like you're saying, you know, I agree with you. If my son goes somewhere, I want people to look out for him and tell him, hey, that's not right. Don't do that. It's going to get hurt. You're going to get hurt.
Yeah.
Or, you know, hey, thanks for coming. You know, let's have a good time.
Yeah.
I would love for people to say that to my son.
You know, to your point too, like Reno is at a point right now, and I hope he doesn't hear this podcast. Right? Like, he's at a point right now where his mind is just like normal kids are supposed to develop. Like he's trying to like leave the nest. You know, mom and dad, leave me alone. I've got it. So he just went on a trip to Paraguay. So he's in Paraguay right now, and so we're like, did you check into your flight, son? Did you get this? I got it. I'm like, no, you don't got it. you don't really have this. Like mom and I, we find out that he's got all this paperwork and insurance and COVID tests. He had to do 2 COVID tests for the love of all things holy. Oh my gosh, 2 COVID tests in the same day. And out here in the Phoenix heat, and our van doesn't have very great air conditioning. I don't have a work truck yet again, but and so like we're like, dude, could we not have like scheduled some of these things like earlier on? And so like as he's in Paraguay and he's in the I got it mode, or if he starts work like you're talking about, like there has to be someone there that's looking after him, period. He's not listening to me anymore. And he's not paying attention, you know, like teenagers are only half-formed human beings. You know what I mean? So like, I go back to that concept personally, that it's like when somebody, I know everyone on the project is responsible for safety. So I get that. But when superintendents are like, hey, it's their job to focus on it, I kind of look at it differently. If I'm the superintendent job, it is my job. And this isn't the whole, you know, blame me stuff. No, we work as a team, but it is my job to make sure that everybody that leaves that orientation and comes out of that meeting is going to be sent home to their parents, and I'm taking care of them like I am my own children. I think that's a good challenge for everyone. Is, you know, we're all takers. But can we in the morning, in our morning routine, when we do our gratefuls, when we do our vision, can we reframe that a little bit to give and to take care of those workers, men or women, just like we would want to take care of our daughters or sons? So that's a thought for me, and I'd like to give you the last word here. What advice would you give to anybody? I think the theme of our podcast has been, you know, cleanliness, stability, how to show up as a superintendent. Why would we want to be better? What would be your closing advice? Give us the last word.
Man, it just goes down to thinking about the people that you work with, getting to know these people, because once you get to know somebody, you can't want to see them hurt. You can't want to see them unproductive. You can't see them not want to be successful in life, or at any small task they're doing. And so when we can get to that point, man, we'll all just be that much better that day and the day to come. So
I love it. All right, Nelson, let's do what we do on the count of 3. I say on we go. 1, 2, 3. On we go.
On we go.
Please join us next time in elevating the entire construction experience for workers, leaders, and companies coast to coast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to share with your construction colleagues and help us spread the word by rating, subscribing, and leaving a review on your preferred podcast listening platform. We really appreciate it. We'll catch you next time on the Elevate Construction Podcast.